Hello and a very warm welcome aboard for the very first episode of Side Thoughts. That's right, the very first episode, episode number 1. You're here at the beginning. It's a show where I, Shorty E, ramble at you for a bit about anything and everything that crosses my mind, really. There are first episode jitters, that's for sure. You know, trying to decide what to talk about for the first time is hard. Do I talk about gaming? Do I talk about music? What can I talk about that doesn't alienate a huge bunch of people straight away, basically, but at the same time is vaguely interesting and I know enough to talk about? I don't know. I don't have a clue what the format for the show is still. Do I talk about all topics in every episode, or do I have shorter episodes on individual topics? Who knows? Who knows, really? So in the podcast world, it's kind of sensible and the norm to have, a set formula, certain sections and segments and features in your show that people know and people can get familiar with, and people get accustomed to what's coming in each episode. But quite frankly, we're already breaking podcast norms by not having a specific genre for this podcast. One week we're going to be talking about gaming, the next music, the next fucking the clouds. I don't know, whatever kind of pops into my head. So we're already breaking those norms. So right now, do we have a kind of set standard formula? I'm going to say no. But we're here and it's the first episode, so we've got to kind of do something. So we're going to have some kind of vague features, I guess. I wouldn't really call them features, just more kind of format of how the show's going to work. And, with that in mind, we're going to move on to what I'm going to call the first section of the show, which is What's New, Shorty? So What's New, Shorty isn't just a play on Scooby-Doo. Consider this to be your News at 10 headlines, if you like. This is the part of a show where I'll just tell you very briefly what we're going to be discussing in the next 10, 20, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And then that way you can decide straight away if you want to stick around or if you want to get the fuck out of here. So episode 1, we're going to kind of go focus down what I do routinely and what I've been doing routinely for 3 years now. And that's we're going to talk all about Twitch streaming and video game streaming and kind of in general. I'm gonna take a brief whistle stop tour of my Twitch streaming history, talk about the highs and lows and some moments that I'm quite proud of, really. Then we're going to move on to the good and bad parts of streaming, which there's a fucking fuck ton of. We'll talk about whether you should be a video game streamer. We'll ask that question. And what does it take to be a streamer? And then I'm going to take you through just some of my Twitch streamer recommendations. 4 or 5 people that I recommend that I watch currently that I love watching. And really appreciate their content. So if you're interested in that, stick around and we'll get straight to it now. What can I say about my Twitch streaming career, in inverted commas, if you can call it that? I kind of always wanted to become a streamer. I've always liked gaming and I've always liked talking and I've always liked presenting myself, all that kind of stuff. But the opportunity never kind of arose because, you have real life to deal with. You can't spend money on loads of equipment. You can't spend money and time on streaming 2-3 hours a day. But what happened was the pandemic. That's what happened. Back in 2020, the world stops. You're working from home. You don't have as much to do. You're not going out. And the Twitch streaming world blew up with streamers. And, YouTube gaming, Facebook gaming, all that kind of stuff massively just peaked. It's got to be the peak of their business careers or whatever. And I was part of that. I was part of the pandemic era of streamers. So around about July, August 2020, I'm living with my girlfriend's parents in a spare room, and I decide I want to start streaming because there's nothing else to do. I've walked everywhere that can be walked. I've done as many Zoom calls as I care to do Zoom calls and Zoom quizzes and all that nonsense that was going on. So here we are, sat in my girlfriend's parents' spare room, and all I had was my PS4 and my Xbox 360, but I'm Xbox One even, not 360, Xbox One. And I started Googling how you can stream from consoles, and the PlayStation 4 and Xbox Ones and that era onwards have had a very clever and very good streaming integrated feature. So you can go live straight from them. So I did. I got myself a PlayStation camera for like 30 quid off Facebook Marketplace. I did it from an armchair. My phone in front of me as chat so I could see that. It was all very unprofessional. But you know what? I met a bunch of other pandemic streamers, and they were a great bunch of people. So, you know, I made a lot of friends early doors. We got to affiliate status. We supported each other. We'd stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning playing bloody Fall Guys, or I'd be staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning playing I Am Bread or something stupid, right? And we created a great kind of community vibe. And it was really important to me that I had that community vibe at that point, because you had nothing. You weren't seeing your friends or family really during that time. So having those people online that you could just go and shoot some people with was great. I started off by playing a bunch of variety games. I Am Bread was really fucking popular for me, and I don't know why. We'd play like Goat Simulator, and we'd just buy stupid games and play them, and people seemed to love it. And when I look back at some of those early clips, it's so cringy. I might overlay some on this video now, but it's so cringy, like the setup I had and the way you could tell like I'm in a spare room, because I'm kind of whispering. I'm not projecting my voice, I'm kind of like whispering, which is really weird and awkward. I was having an okay amount of viewers at that point, and things were kind of ticking along, you know. Enough, and I was quite happy. You know, I don't do it for the money or the fame or the viewers. I was quite happy. And I strolled across a guy called James from the Vamps, and kind of became his kind of, you know, Twitch moderator, Twitch kind of guide to help him stream, because he wasn't getting out and playing music, playing shows, so he wanted to play music on stream. But I had no fucking clue what he was doing, quite frankly. So I helped him out quite a bit. And, you know, whilst I was helping him out, a lot of his viewers kind of came across to my channels to check me out. And now a lot of those viewers from that period kind of have become the core of my community, alongside a few other people from some other raids and that kind of thing. But the core of my community that I have now kind of stems from that era. So I'm really grateful for that. And that was just a pure pandemic era chance meeting, you know, and it's absolutely fantastic. So having that opportunity meant I had a nice core fan base at that point in time, and we could do a lot with that. And one thing I did, so as soon as we bought this house and I got this set up with my PC and everything, one of the first things I did when I got this set up was a 24-hour stream for charity for Diabetes UK. Doing for Diabetes UK because a few members of my family are diabetic, a few members of Laura's family are diabetic, a few of my friends are diabetic. Lots of reasons to do it, and really wanted to kind of make that point and raise some money for a good cause. And I've done that now for 3 years in a row. Do it around about Easter time every year. And so far in total, we've raised over £3,000 for Diabetes UK, and that is probably the thing I'm most proud of. I don't really, you know, obviously whenever anyone subscribes or follows me or does anything like that, it helps me financially, it helps support the cats, helps support me and Laura, you know, it's great and I love it, but I don't do it for that side of things. I do it because I enjoy doing it. So raising £3,000 for Diabetes UK since I've started streaming in my little corner of the internet. We're not a big community. I've not got hundreds of people watching my streams, you know. I've got 10, 20, maybe 30 at a time watching my streams if I'm lucky. And we raised £3,000. I don't really know how that's happened, but I'm glad it has. That's been a real high. Another thing that's been a big high of, you know, kind of my streaming career, again in inverted commas, is some of my friends that stream, you know, some dropped off after the pandemic when normal life picked back up, but some of my friends have become and gone on to be, successful YouTube streamers, successful Twitch streamers. They've got a partner, and it's great to see people really blossom. Like it's great to see people that put the effort in get the payout they deserve. So that's really been a really really big highlight for me. And that's kind of been my Twitch career really. Like it's not over. I still stream every week, so feel free to pop by twitch.tv/shortytv. We still do it. We still do it for a bit of a laugh, a bit of a giggle, and have a nice time. So come hang out and play some games sometime. Right now, though, it's time to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly things about streaming. As with everything in life, there's positives to things and there's cons to things. Now, what you see as a pro and a good thing, other people might not see as a good thing, and what I see as a bad thing, other people might not see as a bad thing. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to stream or how to grow your brand. I might try and do that in another episode further down the line. I'm not going to try and do that like some people do. I'm just going to tell you my experience and my views on things. And I think that's the best way for me to go about this topic. And we'll start with the positive, because I think the positives are really easy and really self-explanatory. The first main, right? If you're a big gamer, what's better than sitting in a room by yourself playing games but sharing that experience with other people? Gaming can be quite a solitary thing, right? But nowadays you can sit in a room and you can share your gaming experience with other people that kind of care about what you're doing. So if you're locking eyes with an enemy or trying to solve a puzzle, people get invested and you have a laugh and a giggle and you meet new people through that. And you experience those single player games with other people. It turns them into a multiplayer experience, and I think that's really cool. And you get random people coming into your streams to sort of say, "Hey, have you tried this?" And people call it backseat gaming, and there is a lot of backseat gaming that is frowned upon. And I don't like people coming into my streams and saying, "Oh, you need to press that button there," or "the answer to this puzzle is that." I don't like that unless I ask for it. But having people come in and like give you helpful, friendly nudges in the right way, I think is really fun. But most of all, meeting new people is just fun. People come into your chat and they don't know who you are, and every time you've got a chance to just sort of say hello and introduce yourself and have a good time, and some will stay and some will go, and that's really good fun, and I love that. I love that part about it. I suppose the second benefit is if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you get to earn a bit of money. And I mean if you're lucky. There's an argument to say if you put in the hard work, it's not luck, it's work. But no, I honestly think it's luck. Mostly. Yes, you can put in the hard work and put in the hard yards, but if you don't get those people coming into your chat, if you don't get, the good game on that night, if you're not feeling 100% on that night, there's a lot of factors at play here. If you don't feel that, it's probably not going to happen. But if you're really lucky, you get a nice core base of subscribers who will resubscribe every month regardless. They'll just leave that rolling subscription on and they'll pay £5 a month just so they can use your crappy emotes just to support you. And that can tick away quite nicely. And it's a real nice boost. It's real nice to get a payout from Twitch and go, right, I'm going to spend this money on a game this month that I think my chat will enjoy. Or I'm going to spend this money on a new microphone or a new headset. And it's kind of the business kind of side of things. Money that comes into the business goes back into the business. Right? It's kind of that business side of things. Or it can just go to support your family, friends, kids, whatever. That's supporting the business. Without the streamer being happy and content in their life, you're not going to have good streams. So it's all whatever you do with that money, it doesn't really matter. Whatever it kind of is. So that's one of the real kind of good sides from it, I guess. So they are two of the biggest positives from streaming that people see, right? You get to play games and you get a good bunch of viewers, you get to meet new people, and on the side of it, you get to earn money by playing games, meeting new people. They're the two really big positives. But also, what is another positive for me is when you put in like a bit of hard work into something and you see it pay off at the end of it. You know, anyone will tell you that in any field that's quite rewarding. So when I put in all the effort into the 24-hour streams, which I'll be honest, I'm quite a lazy streamer. The 24-hour charity streams are probably where I actually put in some effort into streaming and putting some effort into, you know, promoting myself and making content for it. To then raise, you know, £1,000 each time, give or take, is really nice to see. So it is good to see that kind of hard work and that determination pay off. You know, if only I did it 365 days a year, I might be a different streamer, but you know, that's not how it works, sadly. With that in mind, we're gonna move on to the bad stuff. Now, it would be bad and ugly all in one. We're probably gonna have an ugly category, but there is downsides to streaming, right? And I say downsides very loosely. Like people think streaming is you sit down at your computer, you sit down at your Xbox, you turn it on, you press play, you press go live. That's it. Jobs are good, and it's not quite like that, right? And you learn that very early doors. The second, even if you're streaming from your PlayStation, and it kind of is like that, you learn it very early that it's not as simple. If you want to carry on streaming, it's not as simple as that. There's a lot of hard work to make it successful. Just setting up your stream. So if you're not very technically minded, which, you know, nowadays gamers don't have to be technically minded because the consoles, the computers do everything for you, right? Gone are the days where you have to know everything about a graphics card or everything about a motherboard or everything about frame rates and all that kind of stuff. You don't really need to know all that bit necessarily to play a game anymore. But to stream, you still need to know all that stuff. Now, just going very simple here, just setting up your stream, right? If you're streaming via a PC, you've got to set up your OBS, right? And that can be difficult if you don't have a fucking clue what you're doing. There's a lot of Googling, a lot of YouTubing involved, and a lot of self-teaching. And every YouTube video you watch, it tells you to do something completely different. So you don't really know what to do. You kind of make a mash of them all and throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And that's just your software. That's just set it up so you can have a camera in front of you and your game on screen. That's difficult in itself. Then you've got to think about, you know, a name for your stream. I mean, that is kind of easy, but kind of difficult. You know, you don't just want to use, you know, Bob Geldof as your name. You want something that stands out. I use Shorty E TV because Shorty E wasn't available. And I've just kind of used Shorty E for my entire life because it kind of is my name, but it kind of sticks. So you've got to pick that and make sure it's available. You've got to design your logo. You need a logo. I bet you never thought you needed a logo, but you do. If your stream's going to look even semi-professional, you're going to need a logo. You'll be able to get away for a bit with just a picture of your face, probably. But you're going to need a logo. And if you're a designer yourself, lucky you, right? You've got the skills to do it. You know, you can make a bit of bodge one on Canva or PixArt or wherever. And you can do something like that, which I can do a lot. But otherwise, you've got to pay for someone. And the same goes for like overlays, you know, all the flashy shit you see around people's streams. You've got to get that from somewhere. You know, Streamlabs has an option to do it, but they're a bit crap. You need personalized ones, really. You know, you've got to sort out your audio level, your video outputs. What about sound alerts? You thought about sound alerts yet? No. Robots to talk in your chat. Robots to play alerts on stream. You thought about any of that? What about your redeems? What's going to make you different? What are people going to press to make you do or make happen? You're not thought about any of that, have you? I didn't when I first started streaming. I didn't, even though I'd watch streams and always thought being a streamer, I didn't think any of that was required. or would be that difficult, but it is. And when you get used to it, it's quite simple. But if you know anything about it and you're going in, a bareback, for lack of a better word, it is not simple. What about social media? We live in the social media age, so if you want to grow your stream, you're not just posting on Twitch. You're posting on Twitter or fucking X or whatever it is. You're posting on Instagram. You're posting on Facebook. You're posting on fucking Threads. You're posting on TikTok, all that kind of stuff. You've got to post now. You've got to set up a Discord channel. People like Discord channels. I had no fucking clue what Discord was when I started streaming. And someone came to my stream and was like, "Have you got a Discord channel?" And I was like, "No. Should I have?" And they were like, "Yes, you should have a Discord channel." So I've got a Discord channel. So that's something else to manage and talk to and do. And, it's kind of self-managing, but I don't know. And whilst we're on the subject of social media, it's not just social media. Posts and polls and pictures. It's additional content, right? Yes, when you're live, people can see you for those couple of hours. But when you're not live, you need to be promoting yourself, and that means creating little clip videos, montages for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, which is in a completely different... Right. Here's the thing. YouTube, kind of okay with, because when you record your Twitch streams, you record it, for lack of technical expressions, you record it landscape, right? Very, very straightforward. That can go straight onto YouTube. Easy, not a problem. It can go straight onto an Instagram. It used to be able to go straight onto an Instagram post, really. But now, you've got Instagram Reels. And you've got TikTok. They are fucking portrait. Right? They're little mobile portrait things. And have you tried putting a landscape video into portrait? When your face is in the bottom corner? It doesn't work. There's a lot of editing involved. It just doesn't work. So... yeah, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of hard hours outside of streaming itself that you've got to put the miles into. And now all of a sudden, you have to learn a video editing piece of software, let alone a live streaming software. You've got to learn a video editing software, all whilst trying to be a fucking designer as well for your logos and overlays. What the fuck is it about? And then there's schedules. My nemesis is a schedule. When I first started streaming, I would just kind of stream as and when I could. I didn't really think about a schedule. I just kind of went live if I had a spare hour. And it kind of worked to start with because we're in that pandemic era. People had a lot of spare time. People weren't going out, so people would just see a notification and come and sit on for a couple of hours. And that was kind of fine to do. But once you get into people's real lives, and now we're back into a real life kind of world, a schedule is the most important thing if you want to be consistent as a streamer and want to maintain consistent viewership. So I've set myself to a schedule. I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, I say at 6 o'clock UK time. I finish work at 4 o'clock. If I'm in the office, I get back home at 4:30. I've then got to eat. I've then got to set up my stream. I've got to do whatever chores I've got to do in the house in that short period of time. And it's hard. It's hard to stick to a schedule. But, I know it's different sticking to a schedule straight away because every Wednesday, for instance, people know that I'm going to be live at 6 o'clock-ish and I'm going to be playing Phasmophobia, and people like watching me play Phasmophobia, so they will tune in for that. They won't necessarily tune in for the other streams because I'm not playing Phasmophobia or because it doesn't fit their schedule. So by kind of saying what I'm going to be playing, when I'm going to be playing it, people know what they want to kind of tune into. Like at the top of this podcast, I said this is what we're going to be talking about. If you want to zone out, you can zone out. If you want to, if you want to turn off, you can turn off. Let people know what you're doing and they can choose. That's what I say, but a schedule helps. Streaming can be mentally draining, right? Especially if you're sticking to a schedule, you feel pressure to stick to that schedule. Even just choosing a game can sometimes be draining because you can sit down at your computer and you can have the age-old, I've got 1,000 games, but I've got nothing to play kind of option where you just don't know what to play, and that can be frustrating. Or you can sit down at your computer thinking, right, I want to play Call of Duty today. But actually, I know if I play Call of Duty, all of my people are going to watch because they don't enjoy Call of Duty. They come into my chat for horror. They come into my chat for sports or whatever. And that's when it can get a little bit draining because, you then have to battle what you want to do with what you think stream wants to do. And then that kind of ties up your personality a bit because you want to do what your chat want, but also you want to do what you want. And there's a balancing act there that can be draining. You have to deal with trolls as well. Trolls are fucking rampant on streaming sites. They will come in, and if you're not doing something that suits their way of gaming, they will just badger you and badger you and badger you. And when someone comes into your chat and starts being negative, I think I can handle it quite well. But it can, if you're not in the right mood, if you're a little bit stressed because of something going on in a game, it can be really off-putting and really kind of draining and really hard to deal with. And it can, I've seen streamers, just end their streams because trolls have come in and said something at the wrong moment and just end their stream. So dealing with trolls and just dealing with people in general can be difficult. Just talking to people, answering the same questions, you'll say something at the start of a stream, but not everyone's there at the start of a stream. People come in drips and drabs in 10, 20-minute intervals, and they ask the same questions, and you answer the same questions, and you're repeating yourself, and that can be draining. If you're dealing with no people, if you're just talking to yourself because no one's in your chat, you're just starting out, that can be draining. If you're dealing with hundreds of people in your chat, that can be draining. It's hard work. And a big one. It eats up all of your time. Like, it eats up all of your time. If you want to make it a success and you want to make it proper, it eats up all of your time, whether you're creating content, going live, your free time after work or on weekends, consider it gone. Because you're playing games and you're streaming. Or you're editing videos, or you're designing logos, or you're doing Facebook posts, YouTube posts, all that kind of stuff. So it eats a lot of your time. We've talked a lot about the bad parts of streaming, admittedly, which might make the next question seem a bit redundant. But should you take up streaming? Should you take up streaming? It's a big question, right? And what I would say is, you've got to make sure you do it for the right reasons. If you're just a bog standard person and you enter streaming with the pure intention of wanting to make money and wanting to be driven by money or for fame or whatever, if you go into it with that, don't. It's not going to work. It'll work for a bit. And some people might make it work, but ultimately, if you're going to be sitting there for 3 or 4 hours doing something you're not enjoying, it ain't going to work, mate. It ain't going to work. But if you like gaming, you like talking to people, then go for it, right? That's think about doing it, because that's why you should do it. To meet new people, to put yourself out there and just play games, or just do something you enjoy. And I'd say most gamers have it in them. To stream. Even though gamers are historically solitary people, hiding away in a corner of a room in their pants and eating Doritos whilst playing The Legend of Zelda, I think most could do it. You've got to ask yourself as well, do you have the time and do you already have the right work-life balance? Because while streaming isn't a job, when you factor in other things you've got to do, like editing, like sticking to a schedule, when people subscribe to you, you feel like you've got to give them something back. Even if you're not doing it for the money, you feel like you've got to give them something back extra. You don't want to be putting extra stress in your life if you've already got a busy work-life thingy going on. Make sure you've got the time. Make sure you can squeeze it in. Make sure you can do it in a relaxed environment. Don't try and squeeze it in half an hour here or there, because that's just not going to work for anyone. It'll ultimately make you stressed and it'll make your content bad. But if you've got the right time, do it. Now, are you also ready to talk for hours upon hours upon hours, and potentially to no one at all. Potentially no one at all. You could be sat there all day and be talking to no one. Is it going to bum you out, or is it going to be fine? And the reason I ask is, when you're starting out as a streamer, your view out might show 0, it might show 1, it might show 2, and no one might be chatting in your stream. But people stream surf, right? I do it a lot. I'll just click a random stream, I'll sit in there for a couple of minutes, and if I like the vibe, after 10, 15 minutes, I might have a chat, I might not. People lurk, people don't always follow, and you've got to always be performing like you're streaming to hundreds of people. Think of it like a radio show, right? Well, a radio show back in the day before you had text messages and emails. An old school radio show wouldn't necessarily know who's listening or how many are listening until people phoned up or until people reviewed it afterwards, or until they looked at the figures afterwards. People would just sit there, play music and talk as if people were listening. And that's kind of how you got to treat it. It's how you got to treat it. And you know, if you answer yes to that and you've already answered yes to the other two questions, I say go for it, right? I say it's the right thing for you. I'd never put anyone off streaming. I think everyone should do it. I think everyone should give it a go if they want to. But just don't strain yourself and don't stress yourself out for it. I'm a culprit for doing that sometimes. Trying to stick to a schedule, but realistically, it should be a relaxing, enjoyable experience. So if you can do it in that environment, do it. If you can't, then it might not be for you, or it might not be for you at this stage in your life. But if you're thinking about it, just give it a go. If you need some advice, pop into my Discord. I'm happy to help out if I can, if I got time. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. Give it a go. Give it a go. Now, speaking of giving it a go, we have come towards the end of this episode, which means I've got to recommend you some streamers. Now, I'm going to recommend you a couple of streamers, a few streamers here that I enjoy watching. I enjoy their content, and I'll try and recommend more and more as we go through these episodes, as we talk about streaming. We've now come to the part of the show where I am going to recommend you some streamers that I love to watch. Twitch streamers, specifically Twitch streamers. I just want to make that clear because I'm a Twitch streamer and I'm kind of focused on Twitch this time around. I know there's other platforms out there where people stream on, and I've got friends who stream on those platforms, and we will come to those platforms on other episodes. I wanted to keep this very much about Twitch and what I enjoy on Twitch at the moment. So please don't get offended if I've included you. And also, if you are a Twitch streamer and we're friends and I've not included you, I'm sorry. You will come up at some point, I promise you. For now, though, I'm going to try and do something really clever. I'm going to try and put some little snippets of their streams. If you're watching on video form on Spotify, YouTube, whatever, you might see some little snippets of them. And I'll put their names up on the screen. And I'll put their names in, like, you know, comment sections on YouTube and stuff as well. So first up on the streamers I recommend is Katatui in 93. So this silly sausage, in her own words, is a super cozy horror streamer. That's right, you can be cozy and like horror. What kind of combo is that? It doesn't have to be tense all the time. And Kat does combine like chilled vibes in a chilled chat with a host of interactivity, giveaways, just fun times for all, loads of cool redeems, all while playing a bunch of horror games. And, you know, she definitely doesn't scream ever. Moving on. Next up is Ghost Kai. He's a Twitch partner who is largely focused on horror. I came across Ghost Kai a while ago as I wanted some inspiration for my solo Phasmophobia runs. You know, if no sanity pills, no gear, nightmare, any other kind of challenge on Phasmophobia, he's got it. Not a problem for Ghost Kai. For an all-round education in horror games expertise, head on over and check that guy out. Another person on my list is another Twitch partner called CPK. Now, he's primarily made a name as a Minecraft streamer, doing all sorts of crazy Minecraft runs. Absolutely phenomenal player over there. Delving into a bit of variety now as well. Just a light-hearted, welcoming, and genuine guy. Usually streaming in UK time. It's perfect, relaxed afternoon entertainment, and he's incredibly good at what he does and the games he plays. So, head on over if you want some chilled vibes and good times. Now, the next two people are friends of mine who I met. They're people I met early doors in my Twitch streaming career. First up is Wiz and Liz. He's a moderator on my channel and a friend going back to the start of my career, as I say. Wiz and Liz is a bit of a variety streamer who tends to lean towards the multiplayer side of life and the competitive multiplayer side. Whether it's Call of Duty or Dead by Daylight, you're sure to find something of interest when you pop by his streams, and it's just full of absolute banter. And he's got some fucking odd redeems as well, where you can probably go punish him and he'll punish someone else. Who knows? Lastly, but certainly by no means least on my list, is Chinchy Gamer. Now, Chinchy was probably the first person I met on Twitch. I go quite a way back with this guy. We've stayed up till 3 a.m. playing Fall Guys or Call of Duty, all that kind of stuff. His streams are a proper welcoming vibe, chatting about anything and everything gaming. If you've got some gaming nerdism going on, get yourself in a Chinchy's chat because he knows his shit. Chinchy's passion shows through in his streams, even though he's got a Welsh accent. It somehow gets through the Welsh accent. I don't know how. But if you want to laugh and a chat, Chinchy's channel is the place to be. There's a whole host of great streamers on Twitch in a minute, and the surrounding platforms. On Kick, on YouTube, everywhere else. It was difficult to narrow it down, and if I've not mentioned you, apologies. But you can be sure we've got more gaming and streaming episodes coming up, where I'll recommend you even more and more streamers as we go, because there's just a wealth of talent out there. But for now, that's it, guys. We've reached the end of episode 1. I don't quite know how I feel about it. I don't quite know how long this is going to be. When I've edited it all down. Might be half an hour, maybe. I don't know. When I wrote the script, I thought it was going to be a long episode. Maybe I've not rambled enough. Maybe I've rambled too much in places. But, it's our first go at this. It's episode 1. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, what I would ask is whether you've listened to this, watched this on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever. If you could do me the best thing in the world, and just pop a comment wherever you've watched it. Pop a rating, pop a like, pop into my Discord, pop onto my Twitter. I'm Shorty E everywhere. If you can rate it on Google, I think that's a thing. I think you can give it a review on Google. That would help me out an absolute bunch. And if you've got any kind of feedback or ideas of what you want me to talk about, get into my Discord. I've got a channel in there where you can pop down ideas for this podcast, and I'll talk about them. I don't know what we're going to be talking about on episode 2. Probably something completely different, I'm not going to lie to you. If you enjoyed the Twitch chatter and the streaming chatter, we will be doing more of it. We'll be doing some little short videos online as well. So I've decided we're going to have the episodes, we're going to have the outtakes, and we're going to have side thoughts extra, which will be some short episodes where I just talk about a few little bits and pieces that wouldn't really make a full show. So we are going to have that soon as well. So there's a lot coming your way for you to put up with and listen to and endure. For now, though, I have been Shorty. This has been my side thoughts. You've been tortured enough. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Is it over? Is it over? Is it over? Is it over? Is it over?